so again, if we flip the script and we looked at some of the mechanisms possibly by which ultra-processed foods are causing issues, it's things like altering the food matrix, which then alters the eating behavior.
What is that?
So certain industrial processes like extrusion, puffing, grinding, they actually disrupt like the physical characteristics of the food ingredients.
Okay.
That's why the food matrix is important. That's why there's this argument too that you can sort of gain more from the micronutrients and the vitamins and minerals from actual food components and like the process of actually breaking those down versus like getting the same out of a multivitamin, let's say. Like, so that's where some of that, I think, is more just analogous and helps this conversation.
Yeah.
But this specific food matrix effect makes the food softer. You can eat it faster. It just enhances this like sensory experience, the sensory exposure time when you're eating it, which then there's some evidence saying that it blunts the satiety signals, all these kind of things that like that's a bit of a, again, a bit of an eye opener. So it's this dopaminergic response that you've heard that these foods are, beginning to cause. And you can't get control. If someone has a propensity to overeating, genetically, imagine what happens when you factor in some of these foods that are just all over the place.
Yep.
So there's that aspect. There's also the food additive aspect and how this can disrupt the gut microbiome. So the emulsifiers, the sweeteners, thickeners, colors, the things that I kind of like, I'm typically saying like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
They can negatively alter the composition and the function of the gut microbiome. And so that's kind of all I'll say on that, but it's certainly a thing. And a lot of people who know what it's like eating Halo Top with tons of sugar alcohols and what that can do to certain smells and things in the home, I think that's related. Again, looking at hyperpalatability and brain reward pathways, they call it like they say that these foods are engineered to achieve a bliss point, and it's the ultimate combination of sugar, salt, and fat. And so it makes the food maximally palatable, maximal sensory appeal.
Yeah.
And this is what activates that reward pathway, man. Like who hates when they're
I want my food to be maximally blissful. I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah. And I think that like you're just really promoting cravings. You're promoting this loss of control over your environment. And it is tough to, on the flip side, again, it's tough to argue these things. The last piece of this would be the process-induced contaminants, which this is BPA, the phthalates, microplastics, that kind of stuff, which is in and of itself controversial, but it's worth mentioning. These compounds can get into foods and lead to other negative health effects.